Hey everybody, looks like we made it to yet another Wednesday. I'm so glad to see you guys. How's everything going? So we are here at part 5, which is really exciting, and you can see things are moving along in a nice way, not too fast and just right. Never like to rush it, go from light to dark and go from very light to dark to a finished painting. So that's the plan and part 5, and you see things have been going fast, but also at a nice deliberate speed. Hey Willie, how you doing? Great to see you, my friend. How are you tonight? How's everything over there? And how's working the late hours? Is that going okay for you? I hope so. And I remember I used to work the late shift, and it wasn't easy, but you get used to it. And I used to like it because I was able to do stuff during the day, so that was pretty cool about that. So hey Tone, how you doing, my friend? How's everything going? Good to see you. Great to see Tone, and he's doing some great airbrushing over there in Queens, which is really amazing. So right now we are getting close to getting. Getting darker, with the dark mixture. We're getting close to there, and also adding the white pastel. But we still have some detail. The only thing I did between this week and last week was work on some of the detail on this bracelet there. It's very simple. It's really not much to it. Just some darks and light with the 1 second rule. It's very easy to get. As you see, we can blow up that, and you see it's really nothing, Not much to it. A little bit of overspray here, but that's easily erased and everything like that. But this is like super blown up. But as you see, there's not much to it, and we're going to go in with the bright whites with the pastel and the dark mixture. Really make that pop. But far away, it looks pretty good. Brad, how's it going? And Willie, so glad you had the week off. That is fantastic. I always love to hear that. And Brad's having some trouble with flooding over there. How are you doing over there, sir? So as always, I like to have a scrap piece that's the exact surface that I'm working on. So when I test it out, this is the light mixture, this is the medium mixture. When I test it out, I want to see exactly how it's going to look. If you test it out on a different texture paper, you're going to have a different idea of what it looks like on that different texture paper. So always have your scrap and test paper be the exact surface that you're working on. Very, very important. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's see, we're going to move on over to the hair a little bit. And remember, I always say, and always go with the light mixture first, because like anything else, like a Major League Baseball pitcher, he's not going to come out of the bullpen and just face live pitching. He's going to get warmed up. And I want you to do that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start shaping out some of the large shapes of her hair. So Brad says the water is receding, thank God, as long as they don't have any more torrential downpours. Oh man, so yeah, praying that fence is not underwater, my friend, and not damaged. So as you can see, I'm just working on large shapes. Hair is not an afterthought, but hair is not your focus. You want to be accurate, but you want to also be general when you can, and then go into specific, but don't get caught up in the hair. Although women have a lot of hair, So it's hard not to get caught up in the hair. But when you're painting, you want to make sure it doesn't become your focus. If it is a focus, chances are the hair is a shampoo commercial. So although the hair is the crown of a woman, I also feel that, the focus should be her eyes, her lips, that sort of thing. So you see I'm getting those little shapes here and there. Wow, 7 inches of rain on Sunday, another 4. Holy Toledo. Wow, that's called inundation, right? Boy, oh boy. 1 second rule is going to keep me from going south, right? So I am going to super pay attention to what's happening. And as you see, you don't got to get too crazy. So last I checked, everybody, the YouTube channel here is actually 43 subscribers away from 3,000. That's pretty exciting. It's so cool that, you know, you guys subscribe to me and support the channel. I really enjoy that. So out come the freehand shields, and we're going to work on some of these edges here. I don't want to lose the edge of her pearls or whatever jewels that are on her head. I want to keep that edge, you know, and I will bring it forward. So edges are important. Wipe off your freehand shield before you reapply. Even if you're just doing a light dusting, it's going to make a huge amount of difference with the edges. Always, always. So you want to bring that forward, and you want to make sure you don't leave the forehead as one large light shape. And I see that happen all the time. But I want you really to look for the anatomy, the bones and the skin and everything that makes up the forehead. You have this orbital ridge here. So you want to make sure that, you know, we feel that she has a skull underneath, you know, she's not a cartoon. Let's get a nice hard edge here. The dam burst between where you, oh, that did it. That's what happened here with Hurricane Sandy. It wasn't the hurricane that did it, but it was the dam that broke. And when that happens, all heck breaks loose. That's what happened. We had 11 feet of rain, 11 feet of water in the streets here. 11 feet. And that was because the levee broke, you know, and so I really feel for you there, buddy. There we go. So Brad says the creek runs through the south end of his property. Early morning, about half of his 39 acres. Oh my God. Wow, really terrible, sir. And I'm still going to work on the large shapes here. And the thing is, when you're working with the light mixture, you're forced not to make a mistake. You know, you're forced not to go too dark. There we go. Okay. And there are times when you can get away with, if you get better with your control, not using freehand shields because your aim is getting better. Okay, let's move on to our media mixture here. And once again, we're going to test out on the scrap paper. So this is my 2 airbrush approach, which I find has been something I've been doing new of late, and it really is making a huge difference. So definitely highly recommend that. Okay, let's see if I can go just a tad lighter. There we go. Just a little more detail for you. And let's put a little value here. So with the 1 second rule, you can see where you could put value that didn't belong. So that's going to really help. If you have any pencil lines, you can actually hit on top of those pencil lines, and that will really make life easy for you. So you don't have to erase the pencil lines if sometimes they're kind of rough. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely do that. And it looks a little red to me, so I'm just going to kill the saturation a little bit on the image. There we go, that looks better. Looked like it was just getting a little red. So once again, you want to hit on the pencil lines, have your aim right on it, and then fade into the dark, just like that. And the pencil lines basically disappear. Now you still may see a few, that's okay. Don't try to hide the fact that it's a painting. You know, try not to have any kind of you know, too many pencil lines or anything like that. But it's a painting, and it's okay. You know, I mean, that's the beauty of it. You want evidence that it's done by hand. One second rule. No matter how advanced you are, you have to follow that rule, without exception. I have to follow that rule. If I follow it, you guys follow it. Okay, we'll just continue. 1 second rule in effect. I look for a second, I paint for a second. As you can see, I'm pretty close to the surface, and I have the air on all the time, which is very important. And I'm looking for a second, then painting for a second. Hey Mike, how you doing? Good to see you, sir. How are you? Okay, and we're just going to continue with the medium mixture, and we're just going to try and, you know, just darken things up and get ready for some erasing techniques and everything like that. And some of this is going to be dark values and everything when we come in with the dark mixture here. Same thing with this side. And keep that 1 second rule going. So important. It'll keep you from going in the wrong directions, putting detail. Oh man, so Mike says he blew his back out and hardly could walk. Oh my God. How you feeling now? Oh, thank God the house is good, Brad. That's a relief. That's good to hear. I'm going to raise the saturation just a little bit. There we go. Okay. Mike says 92 degrees. Wow, that's rough. Pain meds nor 10 or wow. I really hope you feel better, Mike. And I know that that's a really horrible pain, back pain. So I pray you feel better, my friend. So one of the things I've been looking at, some people's work, online, on some of these sites. And a lot of times I see the biggest problem is going dark too soon. Too dark too soon. And if you follow the mantra of stay light for as long as possible, you're going to be okay. But once we go too dark, that's when things go south. And we have to be careful. So you see here, as I'm still in the medium mixture, I was in the light mixture forever. You can see that I am basically taking my time, not going too dark too fast, and even going back into the light mixture right now. Again, uh-oh, my airbrush fell. Let me see. Oh, look at that. It fell, but the needle wasn't damaged, so that's good news. Okay. So it is kind of precarious having the 2 airbrush system because, you are sharing 2 airbrushes, and with the hoses and everything, it can, backfire on you and trip up your airbrushes, but it's worth it. If you can have the 2 airbrush system, it is definitely worth it, so I highly recommend it. With hair, I find you have to stick with it. You really have to continue, not lose heart, keep going. So now I can start coming in with the eraser, and I can start doing some eraser techniques here. And I'm using the mono eraser. I'm not going crazy. I'm just taking my time and using the 1 second rule. See where I went too light, and then I could darken it and dust it down with the light mixture. The dark mixture I think would be a little too strong just to darken the value 1, and to get some of these shapes. So you don't have to go too crazy. Oh yeah, and I let yeah, that was horrible. I think that was an eye water I dropped, wasn't it? That was back in the day, Willie. So you see I can start working out some of the transition tones in the hairline, and also right here in the hairline on the other side of the scalp. I could start pulling in some of the hair there. I'm going to try to erase that. If not, the white pastel is going to do the trick. There we go. And let's let this dry. I'll put some air on there. Now I'm going to try the least aggressive eraser, and then we'll go from there. So first with the mono, it's doing a pretty good job. So it's getting rid of the harshness of that pencil line. There we go. And let's get a little bit more. This is the Perfection 7056. It has like the pink pearl inside it. It's not the most aggressive. The reason why you want to do this is because you don't want to get too aggressive too early, and you know, you don't want to be too aggressive with the paper. You want to make sure that the paper is as pristine as possible, meaning that it's not getting you know, torn apart. Paper is very delicate. So let's go on to the more aggressive, the Perfection, and see if we can just finish that off, and look at that perfectly. So we did get rid of those pencil lines, which is great. And we can also pull up some of that value there. So yeah, it does work out, but I always recommend going with your least aggressive eraser. See if that works, if you get away with it. That would be fantastic. And I keep telling myself the 1 second rule. There we go. And of course, remember, we're going to go with the least aggressive. And we're just going to just come down a little bit, not too crazy. And let's see where else we can maybe work out. You know, just start putting in some of the lights in here. Remember, hair is something you have to stick with. You know, you can't lose sight of it, and you have to realize that it's going to look abstract at first, but you bring it together and you have patience, and it will come together. But you definitely have to have patience for that. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Definitely not. And I can see that it lifts up just a little bit over here. And the 1 second rule really helps you to see things as they are. still with the light mixture because I'm doing some gentle shaping up here. And you see I'm going to start moving around a little bit with the hair. And let's dust that down with the light mixture a little bit here. So you have to prepare for the light. So letting that dry, let's go ahead and prepare some other areas. Okay. Just dust that up. I'm going to let that dry before I go there. A little bit of spidering, so I'll just lower the air pressure a little bit. Oop, that's the wrong camera. There we are. Okay, that's interesting. So Mike has a good question. The difference between a regular edge and an organic edge. So a regular edge would be something that has a smooth, almost metallic-like straightness. That would be your, your regular edge. But an organic would be something that is irregular, like the way people use, Blackbeard weed, or another one would be Drew Blair's skin textures. That would be an organic freehand shield. And something like this would be your regular freehand shield. So, yeah, I think the organics are almost like stencils in a sense because they're emulating emulating texture. However, regular freehand shields are just working on edges. That's how I see it. So I'll explain, like right here, you have an organic freehand shield. So this would be Blackbeard weed, and you could use that to get some organic textures. And it's still, I feel it's a freehand shield. I don't think it's a stencil. So this would definitely qualify as an organic one. So those, if there are any amateur mathematicians out there, do you guys know about the golden ratio, the Fibonacci numbers, that sort of thing? That's organic. And, as far as mathematicians go, there's difference between numbers that can't be solved and also organic whole and prime numbers. That's different. But in nature, usually the ratio is 2 to 3. So that's the organic shapes, and we would definitely have ratios like 1 to 2 or something like that. Mike says Spray Gunner has some organic and standard or the same design. Okay, so I would try them. I mean, if you can afford them, definitely give them a shot. If you think you can use them in your painting, This is thoroughly dry, so I'm going to use my aggressive eraser this time. And I'm just going to not get super light, but just set up for the white coming, the white pastel. There we go. So you see how I'm setting up for the white pastel, right? little by little. Hair is something that's cumulative, right? It's something that you work on and it sort of accumulates the detail. You're not going to get the detail right away. You're just going to build it up. That's how I work. I build it up, and I don't get too involved in detail until the very end. So you see I have this organic freehand shield, and I can get some organic shapes here. And you see I have the light mixture in here. And now I'm just going to move away from the hair a little bit. Don't want to get too fixated. And then I'm just going to work on the inner part of her face. Work on this cast shadow from her nose. And so what I always do, as you guys know, is I always move around and always try and find where I am ignoring or not giving enough attention, and then quickly go to that area. So there's some detail here in her lip, and I definitely want to get that. So now it's time to, oh, well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. And I try to work on the planes of different features, make them turn, you know, how the lips sort of turn in space. I'm going to let it dry before I do any of erasing over here. Go. Oh yes, Willie. Yes, my roommate did move out, and it's hard living. It's always hard living on my own. You know, I'm a sociable person, as you know, so it's good. It has its advantages and disadvantages, right? But I always like company, so yeah, it's hard. It's difficult, but I have you guys, right? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my pink pearl, and I'm just going to try and erase some of this overspray here the best I can. You know, I'm going to go in with white pastel to get this lighter area. But I always want to, you know, set up and do the best job. The pink pearl is still not too aggressive, so it really doesn't hurt too much, the surface. I love the pink pearl. That was like the first eraser that I used when I was at the High School of Art and Design. So now I'm not just erasing, but I'm also looking for the lighter areas in her face. And that is really helping to bring her together, right? You know, just always trying to find the lighter areas and set up for the white pastel. So as you can see, I'm just shaping some of the midtones in the shadow, especially where it's just a little bit lighter here. And as you can see, it really does give the feeling of the form and making things turn a little bit more into space here. Now right here, it's just a tad bit lighter over here. I'm going to see if I can erase it where it still looks fairly decent right there, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe the white pastel will smooth things out. Let's see. Okay, so it's nice moving around and everything like that. And let's see where else I can put some detail, perhaps where I need to put more. I have the light mixture right now. Perhaps I should move over to the dark mixture, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to park my light mixture airbrush. Has anyone tried the 2 airbrush method? And if you have, what are your feelings? Pros, cons, that sort of thing? I'm doing it almost exclusively, except for the beginning when I'm just in the light mixture. But you know, when I get to the mid part and the end, I don't see how I can do without the 2 airbrush method right now. Because you don't want to, you want to think fluidly, no pun intended, you know, with ink, but you want to be able to go from the light mixture to dark mixture without thinking, oh, I got to dump the airbrush, maybe I should wait on that. I can dump the ink from the airbrush, so have the 2 going right off the bat. Now, someone might say, well, Tim, why not a 3 airbrush? You can have the light, medium, and dark. Because I think if you have the dark in the mid going, you might go dark too early. So the ink mixtures, the reason why they're there is a foolproof way of keeping you from going too dark too early. So you never want to use the dark mixture until the end. So, but having the light and dark mixture in each in an airbrush is really beneficial, you know, in a lot of ways. Okay, I'm going to squint my eyes, and when I do, I can realize that this is a little bit darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dust this a little bit more aggressively than other times. I'm going to dust with the medium mixture. Keep in mind where it's lighter, and perhaps I won't dust there. There we go. So I do like the fact that I did deepen that value here, because when I squint my eyes I can see it's even darker, but I don't want to go too dark. When I come in with the dark mixture, that might lighten up, and then I'll go even darker. But right now I'm pretty happy with that. Let me work on this edge here. So Willie says that he did use a 2 airbrush method. The only thing that he didn't like is that he always thinking, I got the wrong airbrush. Yes, so that's definitely some method that I have. I always use, you know, my oldest airbrush as the light mixture, and then my newer airbrush as the medium mixture. So I always do that. When you figure out some system, you know, that you can actually, you know, remember that, okay, I never used the light mixture with that particular airbrush. So definitely try that and you'll get used to it. Okay, we were down here. What we're going to do is we're going to work on these little balls here. So right now I have the medium mixture. I'm being a little aggressive. Mike says, Mark, the airbrush with a colored tape is a great idea. White for light, brown for medium. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a great idea. Thanks, Mike. I'm going to do that maybe myself. That's a great idea, actually. So thank you. Willie says he may use the 2020 for 1 and the 105. That makes sense. Use the 105 for the light mixture because of the detail that you get with the 105. So that might be a good idea. Just a suggestion. Whatever works for you as far as memorization is the right thing. So once again, I'm going to come in with my mono eraser here and see about erasing this area, how it goes. If not, I can always go more aggressive. And let's go straight to, yeah, that works. That looks good. I feel good about that. Okay, so now I have the aggressive eraser. Now, okay, here's the pencil sharpener for this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of set up for the white pastel for these little pearls here. This pose is you know, very in depth. You know, there's a lot going on. But fun. I come over here. Now it's really fuzzy, so I'm going to fuzz this out here. Very fuzzy details here. Always look at the edges at the end, right? The end game is the edges. So always look for sharp and fuzzy, you know, soft and hard. Okay, so let's use our eraser here and see if we can just pull up some of the light here. Same here. We can reinforce some of the detail we did on Jean's lips here. So I heard that, you know, people went back to the gym. I think it was, I'm not sure what state it was it Maryland or something like that? And a lot of people got exposed to the coronavirus. So I'm glad that they didn't open up the gyms here because I would have went immediately. So kind of a good thing that the gyms aren't opening up. I'm starting to walk about 40 minutes a day, and I'm just going to speed that up and then eventually turn it into jogging. But I have to do something. Can't wait for the gyms anymore. That's not going to happen for quite some time. Now I'm just so I want to, what's the word want to use? Reluctant to go into the white pastel just yet. I definitely want to take my time. Yes, Willie, definitely we have to be careful, you know, with the gym. And so, you know, I had to cancel my gym membership because they closed the location nearest me, and the nearest location's like a half hour. And if a gym's not 10 minutes away, I'm not going to be motivated to go. So I had to cancel that. I was going to join another gym, That's even closer, like maybe 8 minutes away. But right now, they're not going to open up gyms for quite some time. They did open up the libraries, though, which is exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. Taking out lots of books for my library system. They know me by name. So if I'm studying a topic, I make sure I get like at least 10 books on the subject, read it, and then go from there. I also like going to bookstores, finding books that I really like, and then ordering it at the library, because you can order from any library in like 3 counties, and they deliver it right to your home library, which is really fantastic. So I have a very good library system, so I'm very excited about that. You're not going to learn in college. You're going to learn after college, and you don't need a college education to be an intellectual. Actually, I find most people with college degrees, they don't pick up a book anymore. So I really think that education is an ongoing process. I'm going to dust this eye down. It's a little too light, so I'm going to take my light mixture, which is my older extreme, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to dust this down. So I always like to squint my eyes and ask myself, where is there detail where it doesn't belong? So I'm going to dust this eye down. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to dust down again. See that? And also, I'm going to come in and maybe, when I do the dark mixture, I'm going to make this eye darker, because the darks are darker and the lights are darker in the shadow areas. There's also less contrast in the shadow areas, so I got to make that happen. So Willie can't wait for the local racetrack to open, but he's a little afraid because of that too. Normally I'm always at the racetrack. Yes. So yeah, so many fun stuff, we used to do when life was different, Willie. And we wanted to come back because we love it, and the racetrack is really cool. But definitely it's something that, you don't want people to get sick. You don't want to get sick, right? So we're definitely weary of just going back, even though we love it, right? And we would like nothing better than go back to that. I'm going to soften this edge here on her face. I'm just going to soften it some more with the medium mixture. 1 second rule. There we go. This is a little troublesome area right here, so I'm just going to work on that. And let's make sure I'm getting that edge correct. Definitely softer. Definitely softer edge here. So with that medium mixture, you see I could soften that edge up a little bit and then extend that dark out. And wait till I come in with the dark mixture. Things are really going to pop. This is still the very sort of blah kind of time with the painting. The dark mixture and then the white pastel, things really start to accelerate, right? So just know that you're still in that stage, and be patient, Don't worry about how it looks now, Oh, Willie says, Mike says, Willie, cars and horses. Yes, I know you love cars, right? Mike, and Willie loves cars, definitely. A little string coming down there. Hey Todd, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. How's everything? How's your painting coming? Oh, that's nice, and I appreciate when people look out for others. So that's really great, great, Willie. Me too. I want to see my mom so badly, but I'm so afraid. That I might not realize that I do have it, so I'm a little nervous. But I would say in about 2 weeks, I'm definitely going to go see my mom and my sister and my brother-in-law and nephews and everything. I'm going to start visiting people. Shaping that eyebrow a little bit. Yes, Todd. Todd is a brand new Patreon member of mine, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, my friend. And I'm going to have a new video that's just for Patreon members coming up. That's going to be pretty exciting, very in-depth. You're going to learn a lot. So thank you so much for being a Patreon member. That is so exciting, and what a wonderful, wonderful thing, you know, to have you aboard, my friend. So Todd, how's your airbrushing coming? Even though I'm in the medium mixture, I'm still gonna start putting in some detail here. Not too much, just some. Oh, you know what, Mike? Little bit at a time. What I do is I commit to at least 15 minutes a day. And even if you do 15 minutes a day, that's 95 hours in a year. Of course, when you just commit to 15 minutes a day, you can actually, most of the time, that 15 minutes is going to become an hour or something like that. It's okay to be slow. Slow is good. That's a good thing. Just taking a little water break here. And let's continue. I'm in a medium mixture right now, and I just want to darken this corner of her nose. There we go. And just a little bit darker over here. Just giving that nose some shape. And it's good to take your time. That's a very good quality, actually, when it comes to airbrushing. Let's go ahead and work on some of the details here in this eye. Always have the air flowing when you're painting. Keep that trigger down, okay? Air is free. I'm going to switch on over to my light mixture. I'm going to work on some of those really light details in her lip area. Detail is all important. You want to put air where it belongs. There we go. Just those little, like, really very light tones here and there really make a difference when you're trying to paint the subtlety of someone's cheeks and her nose, the side plane of her nose. I'm just, I'm a good distance away. I just want to bring that nose forward. So guys, and girls, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I'm at 2,956 subscribers. I want to get to 3,000. Of course, I want to get to 100,000, but I want to get to 3,000. That's an exciting number. So I'm looking forward to that. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. So Once again, I'm taking my least aggressive eraser and I'm just attempting to get rid of any lines I don't want. Over here we have a little bit of reflected light, so I'm going to blow up my reference and I'm going to try and get some of that reflected light here. So I'm going to do the reflected light and then I'm going to come back in with my light mixture. One second rule will keep you from going south. And this is how I maintain that reflected light in her lip. Only if it looks good. I might get rid of it. We'll see. I saw someone ask a while ago when they said, how do you paint? Hey Steve, how's it going? Great to see ya. That was some great live stream you did on Monday, right? That was out of this world. So Todd did something small like this, right? And he did a whole cityscape with all kinds of buildings and it was unbelievable. I just thought that was just fantastic, you know, that small with all the windows. Todd, when are your live streams? Are they always on Monday afternoon? I'm sorry, Todd, I meant Steve. So that's pretty cool. So Willie says that he also paints slow. Oh, in the head. Oh man, and so Todd says he needs to get more material so he can look more professional. You know, I hear you. You always want to have the best, you know, the best equipment, but don't let that hold you back, okay? Don't let equipment hold you back. You can get there. You can, you know, it's more important to practice the basics and don't get too hung up on the materials. If you have any questions about materials, always feel free to email me. So yeah, Steve is doing some incredible live streams over there. I think it's Monday afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. This just seems a bit rough to me. So remember, when you're going to erase, always use the least aggressive eraser and work your way up. So right here, this area is bothering me. So what I like to do, especially when I get to this stage, is close my eyes and then just look at it, and just whatever doesn't look right, you go ahead and you eliminate it. So whatever stands out, if it stands out for the wrong reason, if it's not something that you want to stand out, it has to go. So that's where I am with that. Okay, every Monday at 6. Very, very cool. I'm going to go back with my medium mixture here. And I'm going to try and even this out. You can de-emphasize something by actually making something, making the values next to it very similar, and that's how you de-emphasize a certain area. So you reduce the contrast in that area, and by doing that, that's going to, in turn, make it less in your face, you know? Mike says, if you guys are going to brag about being slow, do it right. let's see. I'm just going to put some air on that, make sure it's dry. You guys are funny. That's hilarious. Remember the least aggressive eraser first. You may have to get more aggressive. You may. And I'm going to come back in with the light mixture. Slow and steady wins the race. That is actually a great motto there, Brad. That is so true. You'll get there when you get there, as long as you get there. Being very methodical in your approach, very pragmatic, really will pay dividends in your work. Okay, so now I want to make sure I'm not stuck in one area, but still with the light mixture here, let's work on these really wispy little details here in her face. Get their cheeks going. And I don't want you to get to the point where you're rushing it. You always have time. Your client will be much happier when it looks amazing than, you know, trying to get it done very quick. Unless you have a tight deadline, and, you know, if you accept a tight deadline, you deserve it. You know, you deserve rushing, because I don't like tight deadlines. But you know, I promise my people I do work for that I'm going to give it 110%, and I'm not going to cut any corners whatsoever. Oh, so you don't know where to start? I always like to just start in the eyes. You know, whatever my focal point is, Steve, that really helps. Okay. All right, so let's take a look and see where we can maybe put more detail that, you know, perhaps I have ignored a little bit. So let's see if we can, and I think over here in the corner, I definitely can put in some detail. And I'm going to actually come in with the medium mixture. I'm going to put on my glasses for this, because this is like really super tight detail. Let me find my glasses. In Spanish, mis anteojos. Let's see. Okay. So yes, just make sure, Todd, that, you know, you start wherever your focus is at. If you're doing a portrait, chances are your focus is going to be the eyes, and even more focused than that, one of the eyes is going to be more in focus than the other. So you definitely don't want to be a camera. You want to find a focus, and you want that to be evident that that's the focus throughout your painting. So as you can see, I'm working on this real, so not as good as Steve with his detail, but, you know, I can get pretty good detail, and so can you guys with practice. Steve is amazing with detail. Holy cow. As you see, I'm just making sure, you know, if you want, sometimes when you are going to paint something, a lot of times it's not painting it, but what's around it that gives it shape and makes it more detailed. So always paint what's around. Always realize to make something look like it, you have to not only paint the positive shapes, but also the adjacent shapes around it. I have low air pressure. I have the medium mixture in here. Now the medium mixture and the dark mixtures are progressively darker. Hey, what's up, Bill? Good to see you. How's everything? So cool. So glad you're here, my friend. So if you check it out, Bill has a YouTube video where he uses the mixtures, and he's doing a portrait of Betty Davis. And so I really recommend checking out Bill's channel. It's really fantastic what he does. Just really, he uses the light mixtures, you know, just perfectly. So once I go ahead and put in some of the detail here, I'm going to come back and dust it and sort of work on the shadows of the large, you know, the large area, the values. Oh, thanks, Bill. I appreciate that. So that's really cool. And I really appreciate you trying them, sir. And this is where a strong drawing foundation comes into play here. One second rule, even when you're doing something as, you know, seemingly simple as this, the 1 second rule is really going to be crucial. Like I said, the adjacent shape is often what gives detail. Not so much the shape itself, but sometimes the adjacent shape. So I'm just pulling back ever so lightly to make sure I don't get spidering. Spidering happens to the best of us. You can't avoid it. You can only hope to contain it. As you can see with the light mixtures, I get very little tip dry, you know, very little clogging. It's a lot easier to have the perfect consistency every time I have the bottle. So even with the medium mixture, everything is pretty cool. Everything's okay, my friend, so it's so cool that you're here. Thank you so much, Phil. So as you can see now, when I darkened it, I have to ask myself, okay, so do I have to do any more detail? Just a little bit over here, and then I'm going to dust down that value. Hey, what's up, Steve? How's it going? Dr. Steve, great to see you. So glad you make it. Bill, how's it going? All right, got some cool people here. W on Artistry, which is Bill and Dr. Steve, and a great friend of the channel. So, Dr. Steve, how you been, my friend? Thank you so much for that wonderful comment on this painting. We got Bills. We got lots of Bills. We got Willie and Bill and W. Leon Artistry. It's fantastic. So Willie has a question, Tim. How do you know if Badger is shipping stuff? They are shipping stuff. Everything's operational and good. It's just the people with the happy birthday, but I spoke with Ken, and he said everything is pretty good. You know, shipping as normal, so you should get it pretty quickly. Hey, John, how you doing? It's good to see you, my friend. How's your airbrushing going, John? And Dr. Steve says hugs all around. Good here. He's good there, which is great. Keeping busy. Definitely got to wash the hands, right? And wear the mask, definitely. And thank you for being a, frontline person, my great friend, Dr. Steve. So that's fantastic. When you're ready to get back into the airbrush, I'm here for you, Dr. Steve. You let me know, okay? And we'll do it together. And so basically what I'm doing is I'm just going to work on all these shapes here, and then I'm going to darken this whole area. And I might use the eraser to calm down some of these darks that seem to be a little overzealous, but we'll look and we'll see. You'll see with tight detail like this, you really don't have to be perfect. There we go. Just a good indication. Oh, definitely. You let me know, Dr. Steve. Definitely. So I'm glad to hear you dusting it off. You have a long weekend coming up, sir? Yeah, I can't believe 4th of July is right around the corner, you know? So John says he took the motorcycle ride to Arkansas this week, which is fantastic. So starting another painting. Can't wait to see that, John. And Dr. Steve says, doubly on Artistry Bill, great videos, and he's checking in on them. So that's great. Yeah, Bill's videos are really fantastic. So really great. Mike S. says, Willie got an email from Badger saying they're shipping a little behind with COVID, but not too bad, you know. I mean, they're doing really good with the domestic stuff, Mike, so that's good. Bill says, stay home. He just stays home. His wife has to go work at the hospital. Oh, I see. Okay, tell your wife to be careful, you know. Thank you for being the first line responder, you know. I mean, it's so important. Essential workers, I really appreciate you guys. Definitely. Okay, so now I have a general idea of what I'm doing on this side. Now I'm just going to make sure I get my freehand shield so there isn't too much overspray. And I'm going to squint my eyes as always and ask myself, I'm just going to dust this just to give a sense of the turning of the form here. Same thing over here. Just going to dust this down. Just dust this down. There we go. The white pastel is really going to make this sing. Just keep it going. Oh, that's cool, yes. So they are shipping pretty good to Canada, which is great. And, oh, so Dr. Steve says, is the medium you're spraying on brighter than the medium gray? No, this is definitely, so here's that's a good question, very good question, Doctor. So here, so you can see it's a little bit darker. This is the medium mixture. As you see, that's the medium mixture right there. And actually, that's the medium mixture. And here's the light mixture. So even the light mixture is darker. But you can see the difference, the dark mixture, a little more intense. And so let's go back to the medium mixture. Oh, the paper. Well, the paper is pretty bright, and that does give a little bit of that brightness of the paper. Uh, that's really cool. This is the color line, and it's called Pebble Gray. So it does come out a little bit, and it gives a luminous quality even after you put. Now, what gives it the feeling of the paper being brighter is that we're working with transparents, and always remember that transparent you can see through, and opaques you can't. So that would, an opaque color would cover this up, cover that paper up. But the fact that it's transparent, you can get that glow, which is really cool. Very great questions. Willie says, it's the last thing that I need, but I want to pick up a new brush. We all have airbrush problems, right? You know, we airbrush addictions, so I definitely hear that. Definitely. So Bill says no virus getting in the sterile compounding. Oh, okay, so she's in the sterile compounding room. Very good. That's cool. She's staying in a little fishbowl as much as possible. Yes, stay healthy. So important. But yeah, the fact that it's a nice transparent brings up that paper. So it really does feel brighter because it's almost like thin sheets of acetate or something like that, and or like thin sheets of tracing paper where you can still see it, you know. And Dr. Steve says the glow-like luminosity of the paper is really making the highlights pop. Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And yeah, it's wait till we come in with the light mix with the white pastel and deepen those darks. It's really gonna pop out. Mike says, Willie, the Badger airbrush did you get for the birthday sale? Okay. And John says he thinks the lighting makes the paper look brighter than it is. That could be it too, because I do have 2 floodlights and a desk lamp on it. But it is, what you guys see is pretty much, very much what I see here. So I'm going to take a very quick water break here. So things are moving along, and I'm not going crazy, right? I'm just taking my time, moving around. Also, I'm going to show you something. A woman once told me this, a beautiful woman, said when she's in the mirror and she's done, and she looks in the mirror, she closes her eyes, looks in the mirror, whatever she sees first, usually that has to go. So right here I did that, and you see how much darker this is here? That has to go. So where it's, you know, stands out, if it's not the 100% your focal point, you have to de-emphasize that and get rid of it. So always remember that. That really helped me. And that beautiful lady told me that. So, and you know, us artists learn from everybody, right? We learn, don't have to be a painter. So that's very cool. So okay, so great. Dr. Steve says to Bill, thank her wife and nurses for the real front line, most contact with everyone. Yes, definitely. I definitely agree. Mike S. says he ordered the new Sidewinder and the new Sotar Model V with the big paint cup. Wow, that sounds exciting. And Steve says, Willie, the first step is admitting you have a problem. The second step is getting a new airbrush. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. So what do you think of the Grex? So on Steve's channel, he's working out the Grex. What do you think of that so far? You know, your candid viewpoint on it. Do you think it's something that that you really like? Love to hear your thoughts. My guest says he ordered the 2 listed above in chat, but they have not come yet. Oh, I see. Okay. And oh, so he's stuck on the second step. Very funny. De-emphasize anything that is out of place. It looks too ardent, you know. We need to get rid of that. And let's see right here. Let's set up for this this area right here. There's a light there and I want to set up. So I'm going to use my medium mixture here. And I'm just going to set this up. 1 second rule, guys. Always a 1 second rule. Never, that's the main rule. That's the first thing that any artist should learn. Anyone who actually studies with me, that's the first thing they're going to learn, is that 1 second rule. That is the foundation of everything. You know why? Because you're going to be using it throughout your career on every single painting. Every single painting. My guest says, RIM, I got your email. Tim, I got your email about the group website, but I'm not starting a Facebook account. I understand. A lot of people don't like Facebook, so definitely understand that. Over here it's a little more dark. So, okay, so let's see. So Bill says, well, his wife's in pharmacy, so she's fortunate for the most part, unless they are grabbing crash carts and running. And Steve says, not a bad brush at all, especially at the price point, interchangeable everything. It's heavy, so that's taking time to get used to. What is the price point on that, Greg, sir? Hey Phil, how you doing? How's everything? Phil Macy, so good to see you. How you been? So it's nice. We're getting a nice group here. Started out very light and it's picking up. So that's really good. So thank you guys for coming by. I really appreciate it. You guys make my week. I just have to say that. About 150 is a very good price point. You know, this is a Badger channel and everything like that, but you know what? I love other airbrush companies. I think they're fantastic, and it's always healthy for the industry. So really, really, really love the insight on that, Steve. I always liked the green color. I always thought that green color was quite striking, because green is my favorite color, you know? So, oh, so Phil is doing good, painting tonight, listening to your live feed. Hey, that's great. That's a great combination. Hanging out and painting, I tell you, it doesn't get too much better than that. You know, guys, it really doesn't, you know, as far as life goes. Doesn't get much better than that. And I'm just going to work on some of this detail here. Yeah, I always love the green color of those Grex paint airbrushes. I like that. Maybe I'll talk to Ken, see if we can get a green color like that. Wouldn't that be great? I know it's not, you can't trademark a color, but it is kind of like the trademark of Grex, isn't it? Oh, so Bill's working and watching, painting a shirt on a dog. Oh, right, very cool. A shirt on a dog or a dog on a shirt? Now, if you're painting a shirt on a dog, I want to see that as a live stream. I'm telling you that. Dog keeps moving, huh? Dog's going to run or bite you, you know? And Steve says, hi, have you been doing much digital art with the tablet lately? Yes, I have, Steve. A lot, and thanks for asking. Okay, so this is a touchy subject for a lot of people out there, not anyone here. Now, a lot of people say you do not do digital art because it's not real art, blah blah blah. But digital art helps your airbrushing. So, case in point, I was doing digital art a lot about 2 weeks ago because I was learning a new program. I had a commission a couple of commissions with digital art, and teaching a digital art class. So when I went back to the airbrush, I was much better with the airbrush. And because you're able to see detail better, and now I look for detail even more. So yes, Dr. Steve, the digital art is really so important, and I really highly recommend it. I mean, really recommend it. And it also will help your process. You'll find that digital art, you can do things. I'm going to show you guys a painting, okay, that I've been doing. So here is the reference photo, right? I'm just going to show you guys. So here's a reference photo, and then I had these tiles, and you see I went ahead in Krita and I put the tiles in the background and superimposed that and made it look, you know, and then worked on the edges. And then I'm working on this painting. So I'm actually learning with digital art not to be content with whatever background a photograph has, that I can actually go ahead and change backgrounds and just turn a regular sort of an example of realism to like a full fine art painting, you know what I mean? So look, I took this, and then I took these tiles and I superimposed it using different kinds of transparency mask and everything like that. And so look at that. So now you see I'm not just doing a painting of her, but now I'm making it into a statement. So definitely, you know, great questions, Dr. Steve, because it has really opened the door for me. Digital art opens the door for new commissions. You can do illustrations for companies, working on your reference photos, just so many different things. So I highly recommend it. You know, one of the best things I've ever done, Dr. Steve. Of course, I'm not new to digital art. Even back in high school, I went to the High School of Art and Design, and we had a lot of grants from the Rockefeller Foundation. And we were doing computer graphics back in 1984. They had huge, like, $250,000 computers that were doing what Krita's doing today, which is really fantastic. So I did have, it wasn't as advanced as today, but pretty cool. You were able to paint with the dedicated computers back then. So when I went ahead and started with Krita about 1.5 years ago, I mean, things really opened up for me, Dr. Steve. You know, very important. And I've gotten into Clip Studio Pro, which is a great program, and that's helped me out several times. And then also Procreate, which is really great. So really fantastic programs that, you know, it opens up our eyes to what's happening now, right? But also it opens up possibilities for backgrounds, and really see what your painting's going to look like, you know, and envision it much more clearly before you even touch the surface, you know. And Brad says, let's see, Brad says you should really consider Tim one-on-one mentoring classes. Thank you, Brad. Brad's one of my students, so that's a great testimony. And Willie says, Tim, are you still thinking of a new channel? I do have the new channel, and there's a video up there. So if you guys get a chance, check that out. There's one video on it, and I'm going to do more videos on that. Great question. Dr. Steve says he loves that can be done with digital what can be done with the digital medium, Dr. Steve says. He does some of that, but more with editing photographs that I have captures. Great. Helps to train the eye, definitely. You know, with the stylus, you know, and you're working, you're still painting, you're still working. So it's the best way to be in the studio when you're not in the studio. Now, Dr. Steve uses GIMP, and it's kind of like Photograph. Haven't used GIMP is great, and I think and stay with what you know, right? Don't go and try and go cold turkey to a new program. Stay with GIMP, but download Critter. It's totally free, and just play with it. They just came out with their new version that has watercolor brushes, and that's really wild. Oh my God, it's like painting in watercolor. So that's really fantastic. I really love that. So GIMP is really cool, and GIMP is free, so that even makes it more cool. A little bit darker over here, and then I'm going to dust this just like that. You still want that arm to have volume, right? You don't want it to be just this flat surface. She's not a cartoon, so we want to make sure we don't make her into one. Okay, so let's get a eraser here. I'm going to look for that chisel one here, and let's see if we can work out with this chisel eraser. Just lighten up that area right there, and we might have to come back on the edge here. There we go. Just trying to give dimension. So here's a good trick. Let me show you guys. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for the shout out, Brad. Brad's always, great like that, and I really appreciate that a lot, my friend. Word of mouth is the best advertising. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and cut this at an angle with my razor blade. See that? And maybe even more at an angle. Now that is a sharp, sharp point. Let me change the... Look at that, guys. I have that real sharp edge there. See that? And oh, great. So thank you, Steve. Steve says that sounds perfect. He always appreciates that kind of help. And Steve is saying great things about me, and I really appreciate that. And so yeah, guys, I'm always here for you. You know that. Always here. You guys have any questions, ever want to take my classes or whatever, don't worry about it. I'll always here for you guys. Always, always. So now with this chisel, you see I could really get in there. Whoa, that's really, is that a focus there? It was like a dream sequence, huh? Let me see. Okay. Yeah, it was like everything got fuzzy. Okay, there we go. Now we're better. Let's make sure we have a nice, look at that. Bam! Look at that. That's nice and sharp. Nice and sharp like you guys. Sharp as razors. I don't feel all that sharp most of the time. Let's go back to our medium mixture, and let's reiterate this line here. So one of the things I really want to emphasize is I want you to have good aim. I want you to be able to put this on the tiniest of lines. That's what I want. If you can do that, Steve says it was like taking off his glasses. Yeah, that's So that's very funny, Steve. So you cracked me up. So Steve says it was like he took off his glasses. You know, we're just slowly trying to set up for that light mixture, which is coming pretty soon. I would say next week is going to be dark mixture and light pastel, white pastel. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So right now I'm worrying about the big shapes, right? The big value changes. And I don't want to waste the I don't want to waste that chisel on that. So who out there has this this Mono Zero? Who has that out there? And if you have it, how often do you have to change? These last like 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks before I have to change them out. I just use it so much, you know. I don't want to get too involved in details. Not just because this is a live stream and just doing details could be boring, but also I feel that I don't want to get stuck in the details too early because I lose sight of the forest, right? You want to make sure that you are painting the forest and you'll get to the trees later. Trees have its place and it's not in the early going, you know? Yeah. Oh, so Willie says they do last too long. John says I don't use mine often then. And Brad says I do. They last quite a while. Oh, you see these with me. So I put this in not too long ago. So you see it's like half done already. So that's been like maybe a week or so, a week and a half. So yeah, they go a lot. And I'm not a big racing artist, but the fact is that I just use it a lot, you know. I'm doing a lot of paintings at one time and doing digital art as well. So okay, so let's move away from here because I'm getting fixated, right? Let's go ahead and see. Okay, Tim, where am I neglecting? You know, where can I calm things down? So I'm squinting my eyes and oh, don't last too long. Okay, Willie, yes, that's better. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lighten areas that I think are a little bit too strong and then darken some areas I think can be darker. So let's go to our medium mixture. So guys, I really recommend the 2 airbrush system of having that fluidity from going from one value to a next. It's so important. That's one of my big blockbuster moments, right guys? So when you're painting, 2 airbrush system. Because you don't want to wait, you know, you don't want to, if you want to go from, let's say, the medium mixture to the light mixture, you don't want to be reluctant and say, oh, I'll go back to that. Or even try and, you know, compensate by doing that work in the medium mixture. Having both at the same time, it's really going to pay off. And your work will be more fluid. Again, no pun intended. So it is a little weird not having a roommate right now. You get used to people around, you know. You're used to noises. So right now it's a little different. I'm a real social person, so I like people, as you can tell. You know, so I'm not someone who does well living by themselves. But when you do live by yourself, you got to make the best of it, right, everybody? Soften this edge over here. We really want to make that arm turn, right? So So we can't make that arm turn if we have the same value. And this is why, really squinting your eyes and seeing what's there, what's not there. How can I make her arm turn, right? That's important. So Willie says he can't believe someone put a thumbs down. I don't understand that. Oh, someone put a thumbs down on my video? That's funny. Hey, you can't please everybody, my friend, right? If we please everyone, I think we're doing something wrong. Okay, see that? Having that turn, that's really effective. So yes, you want to make that turn, you right? Oh, Bill gets them and it doesn't bother him. You can't let it get to you, right? There's going to be people who just not going to like you, just not going to like me. I can't understand it, I try and be nice and good to people, but, that's part of being out there with social media. But it's important to be out there. So you artists out there, everyone, Dr. Steve, everyone, Bill, Willie, Todd, everyone out there, try and get as much exposure as possible. That's it. The work, you don't put a light under the table, you put it on the table or on a lampstand so your light can spread out. So, but you're gonna get people who, don't like it, as Brad says, perhaps jealous, or, maybe they don't like the method or whatever reason. They have their reasons, whether they're valid or not, but it's important to take it on the chin and, Willie says you are doing something for free. And Dr. Steve says mine is showing a blue thumb up. Okay, that's good. So that's good, and I'm doing something for free. I always, something for free, definitely. Always want to inspire. Inspiration is free, right? And I always try and inspire everyone with every video, right? It's so important. Mike as Tim, it was probably because you were not coaching them every step of the way on the image you're doing. Well, this is a different thing. This is, and that's a good statement, Mike, because it really is about inspiring everybody and talking about answering questions. It's not like a how-to video. This is not a how-to. This is basically, it's social, it has a lot of different components, that's why I love it so much. Plus you can watch it over again and then you could really see things as they evolve, right? John says some people just want a picture to be done in an hour. They don't like the patient part of working with inks. And that's true, but there's a lot of things out there, but not many things are, done quickly. Within an hour. Not many things are done within an hour that has as much beauty and attention to detail when it's, takes more time. Beauty takes time, right? When a woman goes out and she looks fantastic, that didn't just happen, So everything takes time. And one thing I never do is I never placate to any group or anything like that. I do this 100% free because I love people and I love inspiring people, but I won't change to make the masses happy. I know that, my style doesn't make many people happy, but after a certain group of people who see things the way I see it. And so Dr. Steve says, and later on one can watch parts at double speed. Very true. Or very slow if you are confused, right? That's so perfect. Tim, if you could zoom in on what you are spraying to help show the technique a little, the detail for a moment. Sure, let's do that. Definitely, sir. And so we're just going to zoom in here, and let's see, what's the best area I could work on for the final 15 minutes here. We're almost in the medium mixture, but let's turn this hand here. So let's zoom in. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do, wrong button. Let's zoom in. There we go. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to make this arm turn, and I am going to come up here, and I still have the medium mixture, but I go back and forth, you know. So Dr. Steve says, Steve Leahy says, we live in a Walmart world. People are used to getting stuff instantly. This kind of art doesn't happen that way. The results speak for themselves. Thank you. That's so true, you know. And but there's also, you know, like different people have different sensibilities. I understand that, you know. And thank you so much for saying that, Steve. Willie says they should buy a sticker. And is this better, Dr. Steve? Just getting in a little closer so you can see I have this darker value, and then I'm going to do this transition tone. For things that turn, it has to have the dark value, the transition tone going into the light, and then you see here we have the dark and then going into the reflected light. So that's pretty cool. And let's see, so Bill says, W. Leon Artistry, if you make a 25-minute beginner painting, people complain. If you make a 3-hour tutorial, Bill says, some folks watch for 10 minutes. So it's all different people. So true. Oh, I'm glad it helped, Dr. Steve. And Dr. John, and John says, very true, Steve. So that's cool. Yeah, thank you so much for your input, everybody. I really appreciate it. I love hearing. So I'm in the medium mixture. There we go. We have a little bit of a soft edge here. Now you can't always get a soft edge here, so one of the ways that you can achieve a soft edge is by having the value close to the background, and I'll show you here how that's going to achieve this soft edge. Look at the work of William Bouguereau. You'll see how he does this so often. Now, right now it looks pretty harsh. But when we zoom out, you're going to see that soften up. Now, when you do that, you're going to possibly create a dark edge here. So very lightly with your mono eraser, you're going to touch on that line. Okay, and we'll come back. This is where aim. Practice your aim.